Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Tuesday to you. We're taking another look here at Luna. I have a Bitcoin chart pulled up because I kind of want to draw a comparison so you can kind of see how things are starting to align. That being said, if you're new to the channel, really appreciate you coming here and greatly appreciate also a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Perfectly fine. If not, that's cool too. But I hope you can learn some things. I like to teach best practice, big picture. I have a trading academy, community, and signal group to ensure that everyone stays in the know and we all learn and grow together. And coincidentally, we've been taking some decent profits with some shorts recently, so awesome stuff there. Taking a look here at Luna though, why don't we go ahead and take a look at that, of course, and just kind of draw the comparison. Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry, I skipped over this. CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below if you're interested in becoming a member. What's most important there is that I have discounts for military and third world countries. So check that out in your own time. Looking here at Luna though, here's kind of what's going on. We got to get our microscope, go ahead and zoom on in. We can see the price action today and yesterday is very, very similar to Bitcoin, okay? In other words, you can see these two down reds so far. And then you can also see the two up greens from Bitcoin and Luna, all right? So yes, it did all this over here. That's all well and good. But now that it's done that, what's nice about this, in a sense, is the fact that it's kind of found its bottom. And what I mean by that too isn't that the price isn't going to keep going lower. That could very well happen because Bitcoin will continue to get lower in value. What I'm getting at is a simple fact that this range that we're in right now for Luna is likely going to maintain itself. In other words, these, how many trading days is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 12 days of trading data here. And in this 12 days, Luna has effectively aligned itself with Bitcoin. That's great because we're no longer in price discovery to the downside. So I like to see that happen with coins, just based on a simple fact that it helps us understand that we're probably not going to be discovering a much lower price point. Okay, we should be able to average the price out here moving forward. How much higher will it go? How much lower will it go? Hard to say, but we're probably going to be range bound between this lowest and highest point. Okay. So again, just something to kind of throw out there. It's kind of just the way that it is, and that's actually okay. It's good in this sense to be aligned with Bitcoin. The unfortunate circumstances is that when Bitcoin sells off, Luna will as well. So it's actually positive in a great sense because if you're going to be taking a long position with Luna, all you really have to do is understand when Bitcoin decides it wants to go upwards. Now, no one truly knows what that is, right? But I do a review Bitcoin every single day, and I can tell you that for the most part, it has a small sense of predictability. And right now we're range bound, okay? So with us being range bound for Bitcoin, it's pretty much synonymous in a lot of ways with this range that we're seeing here with the lower Fibonacci of 236. And the price point there again is 110. So 110 to 230 is effectively the range that we're stuck within for the moment. And that will probably continue up until Bitcoin decides it wants to break up or down. I personally feel Bitcoin's going to break down from here. It definitely looks like it's stacking up in that regard. We've got some short positions ready to rock and roll if that were to happen. Not saying you want to short Terra Luna here, if that's even an option for you, but I wanted to say that the price is very similar to Bitcoin there in that sense. All right, so again, just kind of throwing that out there. You can actually see it too, very, very real here. Let's just kind of drive this home. This is the trading data for Bitcoin in the last, 2 or 3 hours. This is the trading data for Luna in the last 2 or 3 hours. Do you see a similarity between the two? Absolutely yes. Okay, so again, just kind of throwing that out there. Luna's aligned with Bitcoin now, which is a very, very positive sign in the grand sense of the fact that we know what Luna is going to do now instead of just kind of jumping willy-nilly wherever it wants. It's finding its average true range, and that is right now between 110 and 230, okay? That being said, taking a look at the 4 hour here, we can go ahead and see that TD sequential is telling us we're at a 7 to the downside, which I think Bitcoin is very similar in that sense. We actually got a reset at a 4. No, correction, I'm way off there in that. That being said though, with us being at a 7 here, we do have potential for further downside, but I would say that 7 may not matter too much due to the fact that Bitcoin, if it were to continue to sell off, we'll probably see something similar from Luna. which implies that we may not stop at a 9, we might get into some overtime. But traditionally, if you're new to the channel, TD sequential really helps you understand continuations to whichever direction. And with this being at a 7, the likelihood of it coming down to a 9 is potential, but more so the likelihood of coming back up from here is greater due to the fact that we've seen 7 times 4 hours of continuation of the downside, right? So again, it's just one of those things that we need to understand. There's no guarantees in this one, of course, but it does appear that it's getting somewhat exhausted to the downside. So recovery to the upside would be appropriate. Another thing to recognize too is the most recent high before it hit this high, of course, is right here in this range of right about 142. So as long as the price doesn't come any lower than 142, oftentimes that'll work as a support level, the previous high, and we could see the price action come up from there too. So good news is Luna looks like it wants to recover and turn around here in the near future. But again, a lot of that is contingent on Bitcoin. Pay close attention to Bitcoin's behavior. If we see 28, 27,000 in the near future for Bitcoin, then we will definitely see a price point closer to 110 or lower from Luna. Right? So again, that's kind of what we're looking at there for the 4 hour. Once again, I normally like to use moving averages and RSI. We just don't have enough data for that. Everything is kind of flawed right now. So, just keep that in mind. Not enough data. I think RSI, we can maybe use that on the daily eventually soon, just because it does use 14 trading days. And in this case, we've only got 12. So we'll bridge that gap later. But, again, MACD, everything's kind of thrown off because of just how amazingly strong the drop was. 99.9% decrease from its high, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's pretty insane, but the traditional indicators are really null and void. So that's why we use TD sequential and of course Fibonacci retracement, because you can see these levels holding very strong in that regard. Okay, and they're very consistent. So taking a look at the 1 hour, let's just see here as well. This is also something where I like to look at TD sequential and kind of see, because we're getting a lot of resets, which is kind of good. We did hit a 9 here recently. So you see the 9 there. It really just kind of tells us that we had this exhaustive state. We had 9 hours of continuation. The price did recover, which is standard. Because again, you always have to have this up and down motion when it comes to trading. There's never a straight line. So that's why TD sequential is nice. It kind of helps you understand that, hey, if you're at a 9, the likelihood of a pullback or consolidation from there is pretty high, because it's an exhaustive state, and the bears essentially in that scenario were running out of steam. They had nothing left to sell. So then people are like, okay, great, this is a good value. Let's go ahead and buy up, and then they sell again. It's a standard rinse and repeat type of action, but with us having a 9 and then we getting a reset at a 6, it really just kind of tells us that there's further potential for downside. And what I mean by that is just that if you hit multiple 9s in a row on TD sequential on the hourly or the 4 hour, then the likelihood of it continuing that same direction is very, very low, or it's less probable. And anything can happen in cryptocurrency, but generally speaking here, if we see a 9 and then a 6, that tells us that it didn't get completely exhaustive. It's had enough time to consolidate, which is positive in one way, but not in the down sense there. In other words, we needed more time to consolidate before it starts trending down. And what do you know? The last 3 hours have been pretty red from Bitcoin. Okay, so again, just something to kind of pay attention to that doesn't really tell us a tremendous amount, but it does help us understand generally that downside is still potential here and still probable based on the fact that Bitcoin is going that direction right now. Okay, and you could argue that Bitcoin is testing its support level at 29,000. That is true. But it's also, testing it multiple times, and with the strong rejection on 30,500 last night, or yesterday rather, I think that we're due for a correction here soon, once again from Bitcoin. It just kind of has that feeling. So again, if you're going to have some short positions open, obviously, be careful with your stop losses. Make sure they're set above those key level resistances just in case. But I would say for the most part, we can expect further downside from Bitcoin, which again would translate into Luna. So I'm going to say that today and tomorrow will probably be red days for Luna, just based on the fact that we're expecting that from Bitcoin. All right. So again, I hope I'm wrong and the price goes up, but feel free to, dollar cost average if this is the coin that you feel like you want to invest in. Again, it's pretty much a gamble. Nothing wrong with, I have a small bag myself, honestly, a few million, which sounds weird, but generally speaking, if something were to happen, I have my profit targets in place. Make sure that you do take some profits, because I think it's it's unrealistic to anticipate, anything closer to 1 or 2 cents. I see people comment that a lot in the comments and saying that 1 or 2 cents by the end of the year. I really think that's a strong unlikelihood based on the overall sense of the fact that we have way too many coins that were created. Unless they have a massive burn, we're probably not going to see something like that. That said, invest carefully, and I would just throw this out here too. The term invest is really not appropriate in this situation. It's more so just kind of a risk. So if you're going to risk money on Luna, expect to lose it. That's just kind of the bottom line. But the great consolation here, once again, is that if it's aligned itself with Bitcoin, it should and very well could stay in this range. And that's a positive thing, telling us that the price action will probably never come down as low as we saw here previously. Its all-time low, effectively, should never be retested based on its alliance with Bitcoin. And I like to see that. That's actually a very positive thing here. So there's a silver lining in the sense of the fact that we might be stuck in this range. But the good news is we have that comfort in knowing that whatever investment you have, perhaps at a lower price point, shouldn't go much lower, right? Again, potentially, shouldn't is the key word there. Make sure you use those bunny ears for that one. All right. Try not trying to make light of it, but again, this is just something that is strange and unique. We got to kind of look at it day by day. So I appreciate all your patience, and of course, all the requests for my community members for me covering this. If you want to become a better trader, once again, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. I truly hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.